Welcome you to Porch Talk. This is your host, Alan, and we got a special treat for you today. Phil just recorded his Close on Sunday set. Can't wait for you to see that. But we got about 30 minutes before the show, and you had you on the show in a while.
Yeah, probably 5 or 6 times ever, but it's been a little while.
Yeah, I think one of the latest ones was probably like Bentonia.
Yeah, either Bentonia or we did a backroom thing at Munson's one time. I don't remember which one was last, but
Yeah,
that's fun.
you couldn't do that now. They got a full-blown kitchen.
You can't even get in that little room anymore. Yeah,
It don't exist. It's a kitchen.
I'll tell you exactly how long ago that was then.
Well, dude, just been telling me about it lately. Is like first time I've kind of seen you like solo like this in a while. Leaps and bounds, man. As far as like owning the gear and kick stomp.
Yeah, got a kick pedal down here and a stereo looper, so it's got 2 channels. So I run a kick into one channel and the my whole guitar set up through the other channel, so I can loop the kick and the guitar at the same time, and then output the kick to I use a bass DI, so I can roll all the treble and everything out of it, and just get a kick thump, and then send it to the board, and then guitar to the amp. It's you know, it's kind of simple. It takes a lot of timing with the feet to get everything right, but and knowing when to come in and out of your own songs. Ending is probably the hardest, ending a song right.
I always try to like get at least 2 or 3 of it, like which typically when you play, it's full band. But I love the one-man band. You know, whether it's like Taylor or Shake It Like a Caveman. But being able to see you because I know like it's a lot of sitting at the house and like getting everything just right.
Yeah, I play a lot of solo shows. I've been in bands, you know, all the way through all the years, but I always played some solo shows in between, you know, just to keep busy. And I kind of evolved it over that. I used to carry around a kick with me and like a hi-hat, but I got tired of carrying all that crap, so it migrated to what it is now.
Well, just for those listening, and like, just what iteration are we in right now with bands, and like as far as you playing out, or you, what's the current lineup?
I still do Family Gathering with Hunter Burrell and Caden Luke and Joseph Jernigan out of Meridian, and we play blues, kind of southern rock jam band stuff. We kind of it used to do a little more Grateful Dead kind of stuff, but we kind of migrated lately towards more of the kind of dirty southern rock stuff. Kind of, you know, fits us well. But we're playing Meridian's doing a New Year's Eve celebration thing. Ball Drop playing there. Some band from New Orleans is coming up to do the close we're opening for them. But yeah, that's things slowed down a little bit with that. I, you know, do always go to Bentonia and play, do the blues stuff. I've been playing with Shakedown some, although that in the lately hasn't been quite as much, but play a lot of keys with him, just almost strictly keys with that band. It's, you know, swapping different instruments. I play just about anything with whoever at this point, you know.
I think on a national level, and man, you were there for it. I mean, Good Morning America was there, and I remember like just seeing like the video that you shared up on I think Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
It's like practically on the side of the set, and I was like, it don't get much better than that.
Yeah, all the audio you heard on that video of somebody on stage was captured by me and Caden. They just pulled an XLR off our board, and so that was what it sounded like to us too there. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was kind of wild. They hung out all day, and the Good Morning America people sat right behind us for hours on end.
You know, whether it's like Robert Conley Farr or you, and like I think hell, it's probably the way that Gilbert kind of coined it. Jimmy may even talk about it like this, but I see y'all as like just ambassadors of like carry on that style.
Yeah.
The tradition.
Even if there's more to Bentonia and Bentonia blues than just the tuning. And that's what most people stick on because that's what they're trying to learn how to play the guitar in that way. So it's an open minor tuning in, whatever key you want to do it in. Originally it started in E minor, but Duck does, he plays in C, all the way down in C minor sometimes. Just whatever he feels like, really. But any open minor tuning, but that's just part of it. There's a lot of feeling that comes along with a juke joint style blues and a real choppy, kind of droning rhythm that really draws people in. And so a lot of people waste a lot of time picking apart exactly what he's doing when it's not really all that important. Duck is hitting at something that they're not understanding. It's a deeper thing than that. It's just this haunting, repetitive rhythm, that a lot of people have a hard time. It's, why there are certain blues musicians, and I won't go into any of the names, but there's certain blues musicians that when other people talk about, they talk about it being dry notes. Just, I can show you the notes on how to play blues and show you note for note exactly how to play it, but I'll never teach you how to play the blues. You have to, that's something you feel is all, because it's not, never been about and never will be about how many notes you can play in a second. It has nothing to do with that, and so you'll never be judged in the blues world on how fast you can play, so there's no point in doing it. It's not about look at me at all, really in reality, it's all adding to something, so that's why when you get in Bentonia, sometimes it'll be the simplest little rhythm, just the simplest little rhythm just being repeated, and you'll see it just drawing people in, slowly drawing everybody in. All of a sudden they'll play the same thing for 10 minutes, and by the end of that 10 minutes, everybody out there is 2 foot from the stage.
Right.
And you got 10 other musicians doing the same thing, and it's wild.
Yeah, I remember just first couple times, like just going down there to meet Jimmy for the first time, and it may have been like a similar experience for a lot of people, but I drove 3 hours to Bentonia to sit down and just have a beer with Jimmy, and there wasn't going to be no podcast, there wasn't going to be no interview. I drove 3 hours to see if Jimmy wanted to talk to me or not.
Enough to the where you could do a podcast at some point with him,
and I drove back down there eventually, like a week or two later, and had him on the show, and then started we connected through it a lot more, and started going out there and just kind of helping and experiencing it. And man, I'm glad Good Morning America and it's getting more national attention. Although it's a very international thing, and people do the blues trail, but
people notice it more in Australia than they do in Mississippi. Sometimes depending on who you're talking to, they've never heard of it.
I mean, it's I got a friend who runs the Blues Museum over in West Point, and today they do a blues jam once a month, and I'd love to pick your brain about this. Is just as far as just the younger generation, and I think there's a few exceptions. You got Trenton and other guy, but it seems like the tradition of it being passed down in Mississippi is it seems like it's going away.
It is, and that's why in my opinion, the kind of blues like Hill Country and Bentonia is more, the traditional style of blues, the Delta blues and the Chicago blues, and to this younger generation, it's just boring. And it's just not enough going on. It is what it is. It's just too mellow for whatever reason. But they, I know from playing out and breaking out songs around people who've never heard, you play the kind of music I play, 99% of the places I go, they've never heard it before. It's coming, you're forcing them to like something or make a decision whether they like it or not like it on something they don't know. And so, I know that a lot of the younger people will gravitate harder towards the R.L. Burnside's kind of Let My Baby Ride and the stuff that's got a little bit of upbeat to it, a little bit of, a little pop to it. And that's, it's important to kind of do something with the blues world, right? You can see the crossroads, and you hate to say stuff like this, and maybe it could be offensive to some people, hopefully not, but the older generation is about all you see at a lot of it. If you go to Bentonia, I'll be 40 in February, and I'm one of the younger ones at any given blues festival, blues night, blues anything. And it's kind of crazy to see, most of the people there are retirement age, and that's just, it doesn't look good for the future unless they find a way to push this towards a younger audience. You got people like Kingfish. Kingfish is awesome, amazing blues musician. Go ask your average 22-year-old if they've ever heard of Kingfish. And unless they're a guitar player that's into the blues or into Telecasters, they probably have. And he's played at the White House and won Grammys, and you know what I mean? And it's just, it's what it is. It's a lack of, it's a complacency. It's a complacency with the generation, that's been blues fans for the longest, and they're just complacent with being the blues fans, and they it hasn't been pushed at a younger generation. And I don't want to see blues die because nobody younger than me cares about it. You know what I mean?
That's like my friend I was telling you about, man, like him running that blues museum, and he's seeing that same thing. He's like, the people that come out, the people that are coming to enjoy this, he's like, dude, when they're gone, like, it's not being passed down.
It's not.
And he said, take about 20, 25 years, and you're going to have guys picking up guitar that's going to come across a record, and they're going to act like they invented something because it was a loss.
You're going to see it get completely lost and then hopefully revived at some point. Somebody's going to be pulling R.L. Burnside licks out in 2050 like they invented it. And, I try to push it, and it's likable music. It's just that some of it isn't to the younger generation. Some of your more like the happy, major key Delta blues style stuff is just not appealing to these guys. Now they're way more interested in the repetitive groove of something, and that being exposed to a lot of hip hop and stuff like that, the hill country blues and stuff fits in a lot better with that. It's a lot more akin to hip hop music, and it's got the repetitive groove and usually a pretty rowdy drum beat behind it, and that's what you got to have if you're going to want to, market it to the next generation. I think, and who knows what'll happen. I'll keep playing it because I love it, but we'll see, what the future holds.
If you don't mind just going out there and just explaining it to them, we'll be wrapping up here soon. But dude, yeah, it's just like, and I'm thinking about it here, and I think like a show like today is going to work well in this community is like, because when I'm pitching these shows to people, it's like, I do a lot of Americana, a lot of folk, a lot of country, but when I brought up this show, it was like blues.
Yeah, you don't hear it and see it, and it's crazy because it really is the granddaddy of most of the music that we like now, even country music, really. Most of Jimmy Rogers' stuff is generally blues patterns with some different kind of words and sped up and chopped up a little bit, and they add the two and they do different things in country music, but you can tell that it originated very close to the same spot. And it's a real unique that it gave birth to so much other kind of music that it's sad that it's kind of seems to be getting forgotten.
Yeah. Well, man, we got people beginning to show up for the show.
Get ready to drop some dimes on.
Let's we'll do 3 questions and walk out the door. Is man, just for this year, and I know you just you sent me the recording.
Yeah, that's it.
Sally Mae.
I want to get my stuff. I've done a lot of recordings with bands and all that, but like that Sally Mae I sent you, I did all that. Caden did a little bit of the filler stuff, and Caden Luke did a phenomenal job of mixing and mastering on anything he puts his ears on just about, but I played most of the instruments in that. And I want to do that. As part of being a multi-instrumentalist or whatever is, you kind of got at any given time, you're almost forced to pick one, and it's a weird thing. But so I kind of wanted to do the Prince thing and record all the instruments. I'm not the world's best drummer, so that probably won't happen too much. But everything, all the rest of it, keys and harmonicas and stuff, and there's a lap steel in that, and it sounds good. I like it a lot. A little slide in there. Because I would really like to get all of my stuff worked out about like that, and do something with it.
That kind of leads into this is, you know, when I met you, of course it was guitar and bass. You had begun picking up the harmonica, and now like there's keys. You got the lap steel. It's just out of frame here, but it's right here. Like, was it just influence, or was it like out of necessity that kind of?
Not being able to find a keyboard player. And I'll tell anybody who wants to be a musician more than just be a guitarist, or, you know what I mean? Be a musician, being that you have a kind of a higher understanding of music as a whole, and, you know, be able to play more than one instrument. Learn to play the keys, because it lays it all out for you. If you're curious to what the 4 is, you know, when you hear people go to the 4, if you're playing keys, you can see the distance between the 1 and the 4, and you can translate that anywhere. You start to understand what it means to add the 9 or add the 7 or something like that. It makes a lot more sense to you, laid out. It's almost like written down for you. So if you really want to expand off of more than one instrument, play keys, and then other things will open up to you. Open tunings will make more sense to you. Any you know, stepping on stage with somebody playing a song you've never heard of will make more sense to you. Just understanding music as a whole instead of just from your one tuning perspective. You know, even on a guitar, most people learn one tuning, and so you're a musician, and you're a good musician, and I'm not downplaying anybody's abilities, but you understand music from one perspective out of thousands, you know, and so your only understanding of music comes from the exact way a standard tuned guitar is broke down, note for note wise, and then you start open tuning, and you have to rethink it completely. So if you understand music as a whole, playing the keys as opposed to playing guitars, like writing with a different color pencil. It's not as complex as it sounds. Once you understand the relationship from one note to the next, it doesn't really matter what you put it on, you know. If you can play something with strings in an open tuning, you know, people talk about, well, I can play so-and-so, but I can't play a mandolin. Well, if you can play an open tuned anything, you can play a mandolin. You know, you just have not tried to play a mandolin yet, or don't have a big enough grasp of music to be able to translate what you're doing here to what you're doing here. But it's the same. Music is music, you know. It's kind of like math. It's all related to each other in a certain way, and it doesn't change, you know. So once you learn it, you got it. And so pick up a piano and learn music as a whole, for sure.
Hell yeah. Last thing to walk around the door, man, just maybe a goal for next year. It could be a venue or breaking into something new. Like, have you got anything you really want to get after for next year?
Other than getting stuff recorded, I would like to, you know, get something a little bit more steady band-wise going, whether that be family gathering or what. It's for reasons outside of anybody's control. It's been a little hit or miss for the last few months, and I enjoy playing in a band setting. So if I'm having to do too many solo shows, I start to get antsy and want to drag a few different musicians on stage and play. You know, so we'll see. I don't know. There's a few people, if I could drag them out of the house right now, that we'd be doing something. But you know, that's not always possible. Everybody grows up, got responsibilities. So
that's it.
You know.
The last thing is, if people want to follow along the journey, what's the best social media to kind of use?
Lightning Phil on whatever. Lightning Phil Savell on Facebook. I don't have much besides Facebook. I do have TikTok. I don't post a whole lot on there, but if you want to go watch the same 7 or 8 videos of me playing different instruments, go ahead. Yeah. Facebook is the main, as far as it's the platform I've spent years establishing. It's kind of hard to give up on, so y'all get off TikTok and go back to Facebook for me, please.
There you go. Well, Phil, man, thank you so much.
Hey, appreciate you.